What's going on, guys, and welcome to another video in Kinetics. My name is Elam, and today I'm going to show you guys the process I went through to building this off-road scooter. As you can tell, it's a little loose, just got a clamp here to like kind of hold part of it together, and it still comes apart from time to time, but I just wanted to show you like how far I am into it, like what I've done so far and the whole process of it. I started in like Thanksgiving, and now at the time of filming it's January, so I couldn't do much because my ankle, was broken. But thankfully I've been recovered. I'm still recovering, but I can walk and stuff now, as you can tell. So yeah, just enjoy the building process and stay tuned till the end of the video for all the test runs and the fails included. Without further ado, let's get into it.
So it started back in around Thanksgiving when I decided to build a scooter out of pipe. The problem was that the connection was too weak and just flimsy, since it would just bind up and flail around. So what I decided to do is just 3D print a part instead that would go on the fork and hopefully keep everything together and in good order. And then I even tried putting ABS cement on it to reinforce it and make it much stronger, because I knew it had to hold the weight of a human person, so just 3D printing it alone wouldn't help it. But unfortunately it didn't work out too well. Although the scooter looked nice, the part wasn't able to hold up. It cracked in 5 different places and could barely support the weight of a human. So what did I do next? I went back to the drawing board and made a completely new deck for the scooter. So I found a piece of scrap wood that was almost 19 inches long, and I measured it to be around 2.75 inches wide. And then I put it on a bandsaw. I used a bandsaw to cut it out in half. Once I was done with that, I measured with a ruler the center of the hole on the edge of the deck to be 1.5 inches away, and then I put it on the drill press. When I put it on the drill press, I used a 1-inch drill bit, which was the largest drill bit that I had available on me, but in the future I'm going to have to actually widen the hole, since it needs to be around 1.35 inches wide to fit the 1-inch PVC pipe. So here I am widening out the hole with the Dremel. Next, we have to assemble the board. So I used a couple clamps to just kind of give me a sense of where everything would go. So I would mount it like so on the sides of the board. These are just 2 pieces of scrap wood that I also found. I'm going to mount the wheel in the back. I allowed around 8 inches of space in the back that I measured out on both sides to allow the wheel to have space to spin freely, since it's a 10-inch pneumatic tire. And it seems to fit pretty well. So now it was time to take clamps and clamp it all together to get ready to put some screws into the bed. Since having the clamps in this configuration didn't work, I had to unclamp it and try and reclamp it in a different spot that didn't affect me keeping it flat on the table. Then I took a hammer and tried to like flatten it out, try to keep everything lined up. And then once that was done, it was time to turn it over and screw 8 screws on it, 4 on each side. So they were large enough to screw on the side of it. You obviously need a drill for this with a hex screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver bit. So I put 4 on each side, like I said before. I try to make them as evenly spaced as possible throughout the board, and it seems to be pretty sturdy. But to make it even more sturdy, I added in a center support piece, so that way the board wouldn't try and bind or kind of like fold in half at the spots where I screwed it on, just to add a little extra support. And believe it or not, it actually worked well and made it much sturdier than it was before. I just centered it on the area that the sideboards took up on the deck board, and then just centered it right there and put 4 screws through it. Now it's time for the stress test. So I just put it between 2 stools and stood on it, even kind of sort of hopping up and down a little bit just to see how it would take the weight to sort of simulate the stress it would do on real life. Now it was time to put the deck and the fork together by splitting the fork in half, or taking it apart in half and sliding the deck through. We use clamps to basically compress it and keep it together as tight as possible to prevent it from slipping out. But if you keep watching till the end of the video, you will see that did not work out as well as anticipated. Now I wanted to see if it would hold my weight with the fork and deck together, and after a quick stress test, the results were successful. Next, I decided to put the front wheel on, just to see how it would look before placing the back wheel on. Actually, I had forgotten to drill the holes before putting the front wheel on, but I still did want to see how it would look.
Alrighty, and now here we got a scooter. This is what we have of the scooter so far. I have the front wheel in, I have the fork in, I have the wood base in, and now I just need to put the back wheel. Unfortunately, I don't have the back wheel with me, but I am probably going to try and just at least drill the holes in for the back wheel to stay in, and we'll see if we can make like a quick mod that will still allow us to parade around the halls with it or something. We'll see. So let's keep going.
Next, I measured the holes in the back to be around 1.5 inch or 2 inches apart actually, and 1 inch from the bottom of the piece of wood, or actually the top, since I have it flipped upside down. And when I put in the wheel, it seemed to fit pretty well. Next, I drilled the holes. So I made a mistake. I accidentally used a 1/2 inch drill bit, so later I had to resort to a much larger drill bit, 13/16 of an inch drill bit, so it was much larger than 5/8, but it still did the job. Now it was time to assemble all the pieces. So I had taken the fork almost completely apart because I had some missing pieces and some pieces that I needed to also replace. I had to use a clamp to also put some of the pieces together to make sure, like before, that they didn't fall apart. Next, I put on the handlebars on top of the fork and try to stand on it and put as much of my weight as possible, and also tried clamping it down to again make sure that it didn't slip out. And then I put the pieces where the wheels would be, so I guess the lower fork, you could call it like that. Next, I reattached the front wheel. And then I attached the back wheel. The rod that I used for the back wheel was a bit long, so I might have to cut it in the near future. Next, I put, actually I didn't put nuts in this model, but I probably will put nuts in the future. And it seems to roll pretty well so far, so good.
Here's the first outdoor test of the scooter right here. So the initial test was pretty much for the most part a success. It's really wobbly, really janky, but it still holds my weight and it still rolls. So I'm gonna see if I can take it across a cross-country trip. Let's see, it's probably gonna be a mile total. I'm just gonna ride it until it breaks, basically. So yeah, let's see how it fares down the hill. so fast, as you can tell. Alright, this is very exhausting. The thing's so elevated off the ground, plus I have to deal with this big rod right here that's just kind of getting in my way. I'm just probably gonna chop it off because this is just a rough prototype, you know? I'm gonna put some nuts on it, and yeah, you know. Oh gosh. Alright, let's keep going, let's keep going. I gotta prove to you guys this thing's So I've been riding this on the pavement so far for the testing of the ride and stuff like that. But I did tell you guys that this is an off-road skateboard. I mean, these wheels are off-road after all. So here is me demonstrating and proving to you that this is an off-road scooter by going through some gravel, through some grass, and maybe even down a hill. Let's do it. Hill test, let's do it. Oh, that was a close one. Let's try that again. Let's try that one again, shall we? Third time's a charm, you know what they all say. Okay, almost there. I went a whopping like 5-10 feet, So I finished screwing everything in. Notice this clamp here, totally not sketchy. It's just that I forgot to put one more screw in and my drill battery died, so it was charging. So I'm just gonna see if I can bring it down the hill now, because now when I pull on it, it won't explode off. Hopefully it won't. So yeah, let's see how it goes. You gotta start small, you know what I mean? So that was just a small hill. Let's see if we can do those things, all right? I decided that I'm gonna test my luck a little bit, and I'm gonna try and go down this hill. It's a little steeper than the last one. The last one was over there, it was a little shallow. It was just a tad bit steeper. These hills aren't extreme, but you know, with a homemade scooter, just about anything can be extreme at this point, all right? So let's do it. This was the hill that I tried to go on yesterday, or the day before, sorry. Or at least the one I attempted to go down. It's a bit bumpy, it's got grass patches and stuff like that, but I'm gonna see if I can just coast down here over here, just so that I can prove that this is off-road capable. After all, these wheels are meant for like wagons and stuff like that. They are meant for off-road use, or at least light off-road use. All right, let's do it. You got one job. Here are the remains of the scooter right now. It's looking pretty promising, as you can see. You know, the fork completely fell off. You guys might be wondering why I didn't screw this on, and it's because I wanted it to be easy to remove. And as you can tell, it kind of was. The reason I wanted it to be easy to remove is if later on I was thinking of modifying the deck of the scooter to be a little more lowered than just squatted. But don't worry, I'm gonna put this together. And let's try some lighter terrain. So, I mean, at least those couple of hills worked. This one, I'd say 60-75% of it went down. So, you know, it's a pretty good improvement. But let's try some stairs. Light stairs, of course. So after assembling the scooter back again, I kind of want to do a test to see if this thing can actually go downstairs. So these are very, very shallow stairs, and I'm gonna try and take it nice and slow and see if this will work, all right? See out the bottom. It wasn't too bad. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Yo, let's go. So that's it for today's video, guys. I might make a part 2 video where I completely upgrade the deck to be actually flat, so it's not squatted like this. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty successful project because it does work. It does transport me. It goes off-road, etc. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and certainly don't forget to check out all my other videos, especially the ones I made on engineering projects, etc. Drop a like and subscribe down below. It really does help. I appreciate you guys for all your support, and as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.